A standoff at the G20 finance ministers meeting in China last week is reflected in public calls by China to replace the US dollar and threats by the US military to start a nuclear war. The US military also say they stand ready to enforce any decisions by the International Court of Justice at The Hague over territorial disputes in South China Sea. In other words, there is some serious horse trading and table pounding going on at the highest levels of global finance, since the Khazarian bankers refused to accept China's proposal to reform the international financial architecture. Last week, they formally launched the BRICS Development Bank to complement the already up and operating Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. In other words, they are saying, if you do not let us into your club, we will just go ahead and start our own club without you. The fact is BRICS know that time is on their side because the Western countries no longer have the industrial or resource base needed to support their world domination. In other words, there is not enough reality to support the money illusion anymore. That is why the Khazarian mafia-controlled Western economic and financial system are slowly imploding. This can be seen with the fall in stock markets, commodity prices, and etc., and the desperate move to negative interest rates. The Khazarian bankers have also, under the surface, already been forced to test and use the BRICS-controlled CIPS international settlement system that is set to replace the Khazarian-controlled SWIFT system. This has created a very dangerous situation because Pentagon officials have made it clear that if they are faced with a choice between the Soviet Union-style collapse of war, they will choose war. That is why we are seeing U.S. nuclear missile tests and aggressive talk. There's also a very tense situation unfolding now in Indonesia and in the South China Sea, which could erupt into war and regime change in Indonesia. Indonesian President Joko Widodo, according to White Dragon Society sources there, is being offered huge bribes by the owners of the Freeport McMoran gold mine to allow them to keep control of their mine and secret military base there. However, Widodo has also accepted a $35 billion infrastructure offer from the Chinese, who want the base to shut down. The White Dragon Society is offering to solve the situation by setting up a future planning agency to oversee a transition of the Western military-industrial complex into something more benevolent. Asian allies last week offered to support the White Dragon Society by making available a large quantities of gold, ready to pick up in Hong Kong, at a 10% discount to market prices. The condition for this is that some of the 10% goes to help set up the planning agency. There has also been a lot of cloak and dasher stuff going on with the Noxic Illuminati, the Khazarian Mafia, and U.S. military intelligence all sending agents last week to talk to a White Dragon Society representative in Tokyo. The Noxic Illuminati agent Alexander Romanov recently emerged from yet another bout of possible confinement in the mental hospital, said there was a hydrogen bomb in Aleppo, Syria under the control of ISIS mercenaries. Romanov is the first person to publicly warn about the ISIS in 11 March, so his information is credible. He also said the ISIS forces were ready to blow a dam and flood the Green Zone in Iraq. He further conveyed threats to start random acts of terror in Japan, Europe, and the US. Apparently, the Nazi behind ISIS and troubles in Ukraine are not happy with the joint Russian-Pentagon campaign against the forces. The Russian and Pentagon bombing of the forces in Syria, Iraq, and Libya is taking its toll. So is the cutoff of the drug money. That is why they are making vicious threats. On a brighter note, it seems the ISIS and Nazi mercenaries are willing to be bought off for a reasonable price. The White Dragon Society representative told Romanov that if his group harbored innocents, they would be hunted down and killed. It was suggested that random acts of terror against innocents would harm their cause, but that they were welcome to go after the guilty. We all know who they are. Another person, an American woman we shall call Eva, communicate using hand-delivered, handwritten notes to arrange a meeting with the White Dragon Society. She claimed to have some interesting information about the Khazarian Mafia's network in Japan. She said it was headed by an ex-U.S. State Department official by the name of Alfredo Salazar, running an outfit called Winston. Salazar gets documentation from dying people in order to create a tax-free slush fund for its agent in Japan, according to Eva. Eva, who appeared genuinely terrified, said she contacted the White Dragon Society because suspected she was going to be blamed for upcoming terrorist attack in Japan and then killed. This writer was unable to contact Mr. Salazar to get his side of the story, but is hoping to hear from him soon. In any case, Eva gave the White Dragon Society the names and addresses of all the members of Mr. Salazar's network in Japan. Should anything happen to Eva, the network will be cleaned out. The third agent to show up was a self-described son of a Japanese CIA agent who said he was taking a drug scopolamine. He certainly appeared wired up in a weird way. He brought a bottle of wine from the new Sano Hotel in Tokyo, which is restricted to U.S. military personnel or government officials. It is known as a place where the U.S. and Japan handlers give out orders to the Japanese flunkies. This individual also claimed he was the person responsible for the incidents in the early 2014, when a total of 300 copies of the diaries of Anne Frank were found ripped up in 38 libraries. He seemed to be a genuine victim, but it was not clear what his business was with the White Dragon Society. In any case, the arrival of this human analog communications showed that a serious power struggle is coming to a head. This is being seen most vividly inside the U.S. Pentagon sources say Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was killed not only because he opposes the cap-and trading scam, but also because he was supporting class action suits against the big Khazarian mob corporations and because he was working with the U.S. military. In addition to killing Scalia, the Khazarian mob recently staged failed murder attempts against the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts and top U.S. General Jose Dunford. Also, George Bush last week openly threatened to kill U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. Bush is upset because his son Jeb was forced to bow out because of ties to 11 September, drug trafficking, cocaine use, murder, and more. However, Pentagon sources say Jeb's withdrawal from the presidential race will not spare the Bushes. The successful and failed murder attempts have only strengthened the resolve of a coalition of the U.S. military, the Mafia, the Vatican, the Freemasons, and all patriots in the U.S. to destroy the Satan-worshipping Khazarian Mafia. Already, Khazarian mob power broker and casino boss Sheldon Adelson has been forced to back off meddling in U.S. politics by the arrest of bribe police officials in Macau, China, in Chinese threats to shut down his Macau gambling source of cash and power. That is why Adelson is staying on the sidelines in the current U.S. presidential race. The Koch brothers, another set of U.S. power brokers for their part, have approached the White Dragon Society with tentative offers of support. The U.S. military, to bolster their alliance with Russia, are considering allowing Russian spy planes to fly over the U.S. to search for nuclear weapons or dirty bombs that may be under control of Khazarian mafia agents inside the U.S., the Pentagon sources say. In the Middle East, meanwhile, the Saudi Arabian cutoff of aid to Lebanon is an admission to Khazarian mafia no longer control that country. Hezbollah now de facto runs Lebanon backed by Russia and Iran. Furthermore, Hezbollah and Iranian troops have now been posted on Israeli border in the Golan Heights. They are there to prevent any further aid going from Israel to exist inside Syria. Also, the Khazarian mob-controlled country of Saudi Arabia has been set up for destruction in order to end their exit support, according to Pentagon sources. This will also allow the U.S. government to write off the $5 trillion in U.S. Treasury holdings, the sources say. Finally, let us end this report with some bits of good news. First of all, the secret behind free energy from water has now been publicly revealed and is being made openly available. There's also plenty of good environmental news, such as China and India cleaning up their major river system and monarch butterfly population tripling. The life force is striking back a satanic anti-life.